What's up, people? We are back with more of Katawa Shoujo. In the previous video, Lilly finally has returned, and oh my god, was it long due that she was going to come back, because without her, it was a little bit lonely. Not to say that it was bad without her, because yeah, we kind of had Hanako, but Hanako was really sad as well. And I just feel like the whole dynamic in this particular route, at least, of Hisao and Hanako isn't quite there yet. Like, it only feels like it's fun and complete when those three are together, Lilly, Hanako, and Hisao. With Lilly missing, who's kind of the glue, the integral piece between all three of us to make it work. Like, when that is missing, you just sort of feel like, yeah, okay, something's not quite right here. So I'm glad that Hanako and Hisao are back to their, I guess, normal forms now that Lilly has returned. So yeah, I believe we were going to the Summerhouse of Lily's parents that she kind of suggested to us to go to because it was dusty and we needed to clean it up or something, or at least that was my theory. But nevertheless, let's just continue, because I mean, Hisao actually, he said to himself, right, that this would be the perfect place for him to reveal his feelings to Lilly. Now, I kind of said that might not be the best idea, so I think if he's going to do it, he should do it at the very end. If he's really dead set on doing it, like in this faraway place where he's stuck with both of them together, like, he's gotta do it on the last day, otherwise it could work out potentially really, really wrong. But oh my god, if he's gonna confess, then I don't know if it's gonna happen this video or the next one, but just one way to find out, so let's continue. The morning chill wrapped itself around my shivering body. I huff into my cupped hands to desperately try and stave off the cold as we mill about on the station platform. Lily's clothing looks rather ill-suited for the temperature around us. I can only hope it's indicative of what she expects the weather to be like at our destination. Damn it, Lilly, why do we have to get here so early? Unfortunately, the train schedule is against us. The next train to Hokkaido is at 2 in the afternoon. Great, oh, just great. I pause a moment to wipe some sleep out of my eyes, and Lilly promptly takes advantage of the opening. Cheer up, Hisao. Once we get there, it'll be much warmer. Why not just take the bullet train? A normal train's going to take hours to get us there, so we may as well take the Shinkansen line as far north as it goes, and just switch at the end. There's a certain charm to older trains. Wouldn't you agree? I'd agree if I weren't freezing in the morning cold because we decided to take one. I'm sorry, Hisao. Sorry? What for? I was the one who suggested taking a normal train. Way to make me feel guilty. All I can do is sigh and cover my face with my hand. It's fine. I'm just grumbling. Hisao is definitely not a morning person. I would definitely be the same, of course. Like, if I were to wake up this early for the train and then I have to actually stand outside waiting for the train for several hours for it to come, I'd be like, yeah, I could have been asleep in my warm, comfortable bed right now, so I'm not the happiest person on the world. My, Hanako, you shouldn't shoulder all the blame yourself. Even without your suggestion, I'd still have opted for the same thing. Thankful for the quick interception from Lilly, I take a quick gander around the station. Aside from us, the train station platforms are all but deserted, the morning dew settling on the empty benches. I guess no one else was masochistic enough to brave the very early morning. Though if someone was, they'd more than notice the huge bags from both Lilly and that Hanako brought with them. Just what did you have to pack into those things anyway? The bags? She pauses a moment and tilts her head in thought. A change of clothing, raincoat, underwear, sleepwear, a number of books. I think that's most of it. You make it sound as if I'm unprepared. You brought less? Underwear and a pack of cards. That's it. What? Not even a change of clothes? How long are they gonna stay there? It was a weekend, right? I mean, you'd at least change your clothes once within the weekend, I guess. Even if you're not going to be doing that much outside activities, you probably still want to bring at least one change of clothes. At least have one in reserve, okay? Regardless of what could possibly happen. Even if you are just inside, you could get your clothes dirty while cooking, for example, right? You need at least one reserve change of clothes. Come on, Hisao. And my pills. But never mind that. No pajamas? Damn, I knew I forgot something. To be honest, I don't even bother with pajamas anymore. I just take clothes off and then go to sleep rather than, changing clothes to go to sleep. As I ruffle my hair in frustration, Lilly sighs. There should be clothes for you that you could use there. Akira still occasionally goes there after all, and I think some of our parents' clothing is still in storage. I don't think there'll be any problem with you borrowing a set of pajamas, if need be. Thanks, but still, I don't mind just sleeping in my normal clothing. For 2 days? Good point. Not really, though 2 days would be borderline. It's more that looking even a little like a slob would be unacceptable while in the presence of 2 girls. Exactly, you gotta, come across as a clean person, because ladies love the clean guys. Trust me on that one. As we leisurely talk on the station platform, an announcement sounds from the loudspeakers, loudly heralding our ride's arrival. Looking past Lilly and Hanako though, the train's still well out of sight. A quick check of my watch is enough to see that it's the one we'll be taking. The 35 train was ours, right? Correct. Either of you want me to take your bags? Mine's not exactly heavy. My, that's very gentlemanly of you, Hisao. Don't accept too reluctantly now. As I bend down to pick up Lily's bag, I look up to see Hanako picking hers up. You fine with that? A silent nod is the only answer. I'm starting to get the feeling that by the trip's end, I'll be able to count every sentence she said on one hand. Oh, they're playing cards, or is Lily sleeping? No, she's reading. Never mind. Is Lily sleeping? I don't know what it's like for a blind person, but the thing is, what do they, some people, is it like a personal preference whether blind people like to have their eyes open or closed? Because, I don't know, if you have it closed, I imagine you could fall asleep, right? Oh my god, I'm just digging my grave even deeper and deeper, but I think I've noticed, I've seen a couple of blind people throughout my life, as well as probably TV and whatnot, and I noticed that some just prefer to have their eyes closed, I think. I don't know, or they just did it on purpose, or I don't know, there was another reason behind it, or some actually had their eyes open. Because I remember, actually, an uncle of mine in the Philippines got blind very, very late in his life, last time I was there. But before that, he wasn't blind. But I noticed, maybe it's because he wasn't blind before and he's just used to having his eyes open, is the reason why he had his eyes open. I don't know, I don't know anything about this, and probably, I don't think any blind person is watching this, so they couldn't really, release me of my curiosity. But yeah, let's just move on, okay? With the morning landscape passing by the window, and the occasional rattle of the train bumping the carriage around, I try to focus my attention on the aging playing cards held in my hands. I'll raise you 5. She scrunches her face up and leans over to Lilly conspiratorially, the two exchanging a few whispered words. Considering how often this has happened so far, I'm coming to doubt Hanako's grasp of how to play poker. What? Why? How are you playing poker when Hanako is holding 4 cards in her hand? It doesn't work like that! It doesn't seem to disturb Lily's reading though, her hands flitting over each page with only occasional corrections to account for the trains bumping and rocking. Unless there are different types of poker, right? But the poker, well, every single form of poker that I've played, which is obviously not every single one that is out there, but the ones that I've played, you always just get 2 cards, right? So why is she holding 4 cards in her hand, and are they playing poker? Is she playing both for Lily and herself, Hanako? That could make sense. But then, yeah, then it's kind of defeats the purpose and point of poker, right? Because a huge part of it is the bluffing part, and Hanako just knows like, oh, I know what Lilly has. My collection of chess pieces that we're using as chips is steadily growing anyway, so it doesn't really bother me. Looking around us, our carriage is almost as empty as the station platform we waited for the train itself on. Only a handful of people can be seen, looking mostly like tourists and couples on holiday. While the two continue their less than clandestine strategizing, a small boy looks over the seat and stares at me. Hoping he doesn't begin to stare at Hanako, I simply give him a wave and a smile. Thankfully, he retreats back to his seat after finding me far too boring to waste his attention on. Good guy, Hisao. I'll see you and raise you another 5. Damn. You got me. I fold. I've been bluffing, and she's caught me. Hanging my head, I push over a large portion of my winnings. Hanako looks absolutely delighted, and even if Lilly keeps her attention focused on her reading material, I can see the smirk on her face. They're both extremely pleased. Hey, this is not fair. 2 against 1. For a moment, I try to work out what Lily's reading, but the cover is too faded to read beyond the fact that Roman letters are on it. A pity I can't read the braille above the printed title. What are you reading, Lilly? The title looks like it's in English. That's right. It's And Then There Were None, an old British story. I could read it to you if you like. She extends the offer with a grin, obviously in jest. I think I'll pass. Thanks. Wow, this environment. I actually like the fact that, you know, normally within a story, or within a visual novel, the story takes place in like one specific location, and it doesn't change locations that often. You have like, okay, you're at the character's house, and then it's at the school, and then several locations outside of the school. But here there are like a lot of locations which only occur once and only within a specific route. For example, here, this is Lilly's Summerhouse, right? And you see the specific background of it, and it's just, it really puts you in the mood of everything, and puts you in at the scene of where everything is happening as well, which is a really cool thing, because I feel like most visual novels try to like be very efficient, or like, alright, we can use this background for a couple of scenes here, and then we can just recycle it in another route because it'll take place in that particular location as well. But here it's just like, even if they use this particular background picture for only one scene, which is probably only here right now during this weekend, like it adds so much, I feel. And that's one of the things that I've noticed. Like, for example, you know, with Rin, she actually goes to the art gallery and that sort of stuff, and that's probably something you will never see in any of the other routes at all. So yeah, I feel like that's why there's a lot of just even little things like that add a lot of depth to a story and a visual novel like this, because a huge part of the, I mean, it's a visual and a novel, right? It's the background pictures, the CG images, and the story, the text itself. So if those two things are usually like really, really good, it's an amazing visual novel. After a seemingly endless trip, we finally reached the promised land of the Sato Summerhouse. Even after the train trip, the walk-up seemed to take forever. Despite my grumblings though, I never had guessed the sight that would be in store for us once we traveled that long, deserted road. It looks more like a farmhouse than the everyday house I'd imagined. Small in size and surrounded by trees and bushes. Oh no, are we going to have to like tend to the garden too? An empty expanse of wheat fields and farming lands can be seen as we walk up, the fencing only consisting of rickety old wooden planks. It really drives home how far we are from the major cities, and it's a sight that feels antithetical to the environment I grew up in. The only thing that doesn't surprise me is its western styling. Wow, it's amazing out here. It's wonderful. That's nice to hear. While Akira may have said that she kept the house in reasonable condition, I was worried that we might have different standards of reasonable. It looks like there isn't another soul for miles. I thought Akira would be the type to keep to the city. Lilly furrows her brow in thought, seemingly recalling almost forgotten knowledge. my memory, there's a small town not too far ahead. Other than that though, this is largely just an old farmland. Akira and I stayed in our parents' house, which was in the nearest city for a while, but after they left, we decided to move into a smaller, more easily maintainable house. To find a place like this in Japan nowadays, it's kind of anachronistic. Well, this town does have quite a bit of history. I looked down the street one last time before getting back to the task at hand. Shall we go in then? I'm parched. It was a long walk to get here. Lilly gives an enthusiastic nod, the three of us lugging our bags into the house. Ooh. As soon as we set foot inside, Hanako and I start looking around, taking in every detail of where we'll be staying for the next few days. That couch looks perfect for 3 people. All the artifacts of another's life stop mid-motion around the house, such as the television guide laying beside the counter it was on, and the pans in the adjoining kitchen still sitting on the stove. It's a strange feeling, really, as if we were stepping into Akira's life for a brief moment, before leaving in a couple of days just as we'd come. Of course, the more mundane reality is that she just hasn't cleaned up after herself that well. Where should we put our bags? I'll show Hanako our bedroom. You can put yours here if you like. You mean I don't have the same bedroom as you two? Oh, Hisao. Hanako flowers into a full blush as Lilly takes her cheeks in her hand. Oh my, how bold. I thought this was a slumber party, okay? Forgive me. You two. Oh, hold on. If I'm to leave my bags here, where will I be sleeping? Oh, don't tell me we have to sleep on the couch. Well, seeing as we lack a guest bedroom, the comfortable futon, huh? Sorry, Hisao. You know, this is something that you should mention to a person beforehand, you know? I sigh, lamenting my place on the bottom rung of sleeping location priorities. I mean, it's not like Hisao wouldn't have gone, but it's at least, you know, it's important to know beforehand to just know where you're going to be sleeping. Because usually you just expect to like, oh, there's probably a room or a bed for me, right? And if you don't get told so, then you're just like, then you have this expectation of it. And then when you arrive, it's like, wait, where's my room? And then you'll just be thoroughly disappointed, and that doesn't really, you know, sound as a good start of the vacation or the holiday, so it's important to tell people about those things. Well, I guess there's no other choice. Lilly leaves to show Hanako to their bedroom, so I take a small tour of my surroundings after I drop my bag on the floor. The kitchen, just like the living room, is fairly modest. The rustic nature of the wooden furnishings drives home just how far we are from civilization. Returning to the living room, I decide to try out the television until they get back. With a touch of the remote, it immediately flickers to life, apparently set to a news channel. Almost flopping down from exhaustion, rather than sitting, I lay back and watch, and watch, and watch, until we fall asleep. Hisao. What? Oh, it's night already. What were they doing in there for so long? I quickly blink to wake myself up. Lilly and Hanako have returned, minus their bags. I mean, they've been, you know, unless this house is like huge from the backside, like from the front it looked like it was kind of little, like, unless there's like a huge secret basement or something, which is where Hanako and Lilly's guest bedrooms are. But if that's the case, if that is huge, then why is there no place for me, huh? Anyway, it was light when they were going to the rooms to put their bags there, right? And now it's night? Unless it was like just, you know, 1 minute before it turns night and then he fell asleep and then he just woke up. From the Hokkaido night sky visible outside the windows, it looks like I drifted off to sleep. Looking to the wall-mounted clock, it's already 10. You found the television then? Yeah, it really does feel nice and homey here, exactly. We could just fall asleep like that. I'm glad you like it. You were already out like a light when we came back after unpacking our things, so we didn't have the heart to wake you sooner. That's a possibility too, of course. Judging from her giggle, I must sound funny when I sleep. I swiftly decide not to inquire. There's some dinner waiting for you in the kitchen. Hanako gives a deep yawn, only just remembering to cover her mouth at the last second. My, are you tired? I didn't get much sleep last night. I'm pretty tired too. It was a long walk up here, and it's getting late even though we've just slept. If that's the case, I suppose we should retire for the night. Good night, Hisao. Good night. Night. What about my dinner? And with that, they quietly turn and walk back to their bedroom. Rubbing my eyes, I sigh. I wonder if I'll be able to get back to sleep after being woken up. I suppose I'll eat something and watch some more TV quietly before going to bed. TV time. That's the thing for me, like I actually cannot fall asleep without any background noise. Like I either have music on or like just TV shows running in the background or something. Like if it's extremely quiet, I just cannot fall asleep because I'm, then you're alone with your scary thoughts and they just come creeping up on you in the darkness and then you're like, I cannot sleep. Okay, that's just me, but I like to just have at least a little bit of background noise and then I just tune that out and at least I hear something and then I just fall asleep easily just like that. I don't know why that is. Is he still sleeping? I think so. I'm not. I am, however, incredibly tired. It's getting late in the morning. I know that. He likely stayed up to watch television. I could hear it from our bedroom. Only because I couldn't get to sleep. Should we wake him? Don't do that, Hanako. Please. No, we should leave him. I doubt he'd want to be woken early if he didn't get much sleep during the night. Thank you, Lilly, my savior. Besides, he sounds so peaceful. It would be a shame to wake him when he's like this. Keep a straight face, Hisao. It's nice that she cares so much, though. Hanako, could you go to the fridge and fish out what's needed to make lunch? All right, just the vegetables and rice? That should be enough. We only need something simple, as we can eat in town later. Hanako's footsteps on the carpeted floor can be heard, moving away from the living room. As they do, I feel Lily's hand gently rest on my chest. It takes a titanic effort not to react, but something about her makes me think she knows I'm awake. She's like, ooh, let's test it out. We're just gonna, rub his chest and then, touch his cheek and then poke his eyes and I know you're awake, Hisao. She's just going to push the boundaries to see what Hisao can take before he finally just go okay, I'm awake, damn it. A long silence passes. The only thought in my mind is of that gentle, outstretched hand laying upon my chest. After an indiscernible amount of time, Lilly withdraws her hand. Good morning, Hisao. How does she know? Magician. Conceding defeat all too easily, I prop myself up and rub my eyes. Maybe she was listening to our breathing, because if you put your hand on the chest, you can obviously feel the chest going up and down while you're breathing. So maybe that's how she knew, because there's actually a difference. I sometimes pretend to be asleep, and the way that I do so is by breathing slower. So that's how people usually think when you're asleep. That's just your normal kind of breathing while you're asleep. But I've mastered that technique to pretend that I'm sleeping, just yeah, you can't. I was actually pretending to be asleep, doing the breathing thing, but nobody can actually hear that. But yeah, it's just, slow down your breathing a little bit. I don't know. I just sort of know of myself what it's like to breathe while I'm asleep, so I know myself how to mimic it. But I obviously have no idea how to make you guys know what exactly I'm talking about, because it's something that I know, right? And it's something incredibly hard to try and make you understand of exactly how I do it, but it's something you just gotta, I guess, maybe practice a little bit too. But it does come in handy sometimes, okay? Pretending to fall asleep, especially when I was younger, obviously, you know, when your parents is like, oh, it's 10 already, Luda, you gotta go to sleep. And then I'm like, because the thing was always, I had my lights off, but underneath my door, you can see like the light in the hallway, right? And there's stairs going from downstairs to upstairs, so I could actually hear my parents upstairs, and before they go upstairs they turn on the light. So I always knew whenever they were coming upstairs, and when I was little they would always just, you know, just open my door and just check like, oh, is he asleep? And then I would just, you know, lie there with my face to the door, obviously, because otherwise it's too obvious sometimes. If I turn my face away from the door, they would actually come close and go like, oh, is he really asleep? So I turn my face to the door, pretend to sleep, and just breathe very slowly and softly, and just like, oh, okay, he's asleep. And then when they're gone to bed, I'll just wait for like 5 minutes and like, oh yeah, it's time for more PC and gaming and stuff. Yeah, I was a bad child. How'd you know? Your breathing was off. Bam, I told ya. Well, that makes sense. She couldn't have needed that long to work it out. Knowing her hearing, she likely knew before laying her hand on me. If you want to sleep more, you should really go to bed earlier. I heard the television going long into the night. Sorry about that. My medications must have been interfering with my sleep for a while now. Even if I'm tired, I have trouble actually sleeping. I'm sorry for bringing it up, Hisao. I sigh. This is exactly the kind of thing I wish others wouldn't do. Wafer off, address it, I don't know. I feel like the thing about it is, like, you know, we aren't in a relationship or anything with her, but I feel like you need to try and establish that sort of, not necessarily emotional connection, but even like being able to communicate well. I feel like is an important thing, an important aspect of a possible relationship. And it's always nice, even if we don't end up in a relationship, to be able to talk about problems and things to other people, right? Like, I feel like waving things off is just always delaying problems to later, to another time. And usually the problems don't get you know, they don't become smaller, they actually become bigger over time. So it's always better to just talk about things. Talking hasn't hurt anyone ever, right? Words don't kill. Words can hurt, sure, words can hurt, but they don't kill. And sometimes hurting words can actually, you know, motivate or just have positive impact. Hurtful words can sometimes have positive impact. Not to say that, you know, you're gonna call everybody a fucking shitbag now or something, and that will have you have done good for the world. It doesn't work like that, obviously, but you know what I mean. Sometimes you just have to, like, the harsh truth sometimes will make a person like, oh shit, he's actually right in what he says, you know. So yeah, I think I just feel like even with Lilly, you just want to be able to communicate well with her and just talk about problems is something that is an important thing, I feel. So we're just gonna address it. Come on, you worry about me more than I do at times. It just means I have to sleep a bit longer, that's all. But still, it's so cute though, and so nice that she's so worried about us, you know. I'd say that I look absolutely fine, but I guess that wouldn't have a lot of meaning for you. She gives a sigh of consternation before trailing off with an amused chuckle, giving up the point. If you say so. Please do take care of yourself, Hisao. That was a dirty trick, Hisao. He just said so. He mentioned one thing about, he said like, I look good, right? That is something Lilly could never say. She could never say like, oh, that's not true, Hisao. So she has to take Hisao's word for that. That was such a dirty trick, Hisao. I like it. Go on. Hanako could use some help. Oh, Hisao. I should use that sometimes on, not necessarily on blind people, but yeah, you know. She moved to protest, but reluctantly, oh, there's that word again, what was it?
Acquiesce.
Acquiesce? She moved to protest, but reluctantly acquiesces and disappears into the kitchen, her hand running along the smooth white walls as she slowly walks. For a while, I sit and watch television in an attempt to make myself a little more, or wake myself, but it's futile. I don't have anything better to do, so I follow Lilly's lead. As I round the corner, I see Hanako and Lilly, backs turned, quietly cutting food on the granite-colored counter. I am temporarily engrossed as I watch Lilly guiding the knife down carefully with a finger on the cabbage she's cutting, each slice delivered slowly but with precision. She seems a little slow, but considering that she can't see what she's doing, it's a small wonder that she can cook at all, let alone for both her and Hanako. Hi Hanako, Lilly, want any help? Is that Hisao? Oh, morning Hisao. Lilly jerks back in surprise before turning around, her yelp immediately drawing Hanako and me to her side. What's a small trickle of scarlet falls downward on her pale. No! She cut herself from her pale fingertip, the knife having cut just deep enough to draw blood. With the television sounds masking my footsteps, she must not have noticed me coming. To compensate for having to use touch to guide everything she does during cooking, she must need to pay extra attention. Lilly! Don't worry, Hanako. It's just a small wound. You should still get a band-aid on it, at least until it stops bleeding. First aid stuff would be in the bathroom, right? I think so. Will you be okay here, Hanako? I frown at how little heed she's paying to herself as Hanako gives a quick, almost automatic nod. It's fine. I can keep making lunch. An awkward silence reigns as I set the bottle of antiseptic and box of band-aids on the side of the sink, Lilly's finger held out for me to treat. The lid of the bottle comes off with a minimum of resistance, and the small ball of cotton I soak in the liquid stains pale green. Okay, hold still. This'll probably hurt a bit. She gives a small nod as I take hold of her hand to steady it. With all the tenderness I can muster, I gently bring the dampened wad to the small red line. Ah! What? I barely touched it. Sorry. I give a sigh, both at her reaction and to settle my own nerves. Her pain tolerance is startlingly low. I would tell you to man up, but I really can't do that. As she gives a small giggle, I take advantage of her momentary distraction and gently press the cotton against her finger a few times. Thankfully, it's enough to do the job. We both settle somewhat as I bring the band-aid over the tip of her finger, covering the wound while making sure not to get it stuck to her fingernail. There. Finished. You can move now. Taking her hand from mine, she gently clasps it in the other. Thank you. It's no problem. It's the least I can do after causing you to hurt yourself after all. She lowers her head slightly at the apology, absent-mindedly rubbing her hand in what seems to be embarrassment. I really don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind that I cut myself for you. Her answer doesn't seem to make much sense, given that what happened is pretty clearly my fault. I can't help grimacing at her, despite the fact that her dainty smile still holds. She must not like being reminded of the limitations her lack of sight imposes on her. It's something I can't possibly fault her for. I've fallen prey to the same kind of thing or same kind of feelings before, despite my condition not being nearly as ubiquitous in my life. Neither of us any the happier. We head back to the various smells of cooking food coming from the kitchen. Alright, I'm gonna end the video here before we're going to be eating lunch because I need to eat lunch myself as well, and I have a feeling we're going to be spending quite some time here. So yeah, so far it just seems to be a nice, fun, casual outing with friends, you know, and just I like this really relaxed environment as well. Like before, I just feel like, I think I mentioned before, that just being around Lilly always almost just sort of gives you this sort of comfort, and it feels like time is almost just going very slowly, but in a comfortable way as well. And I feel like being in this environment as well, compared to like the busy life of Yamaku, this actually like doubles it almost. It just feels like really peaceful, and it just feels like, you know, like your time is going extremely slow, and you can just relax and just take your time with whatever the heck you're doing, and there's no rush to do anything at all. So I actually just really enjoy this, and yeah, I'm gonna end the video here. Thank you guys so very much for watching. Please like and subscribe for more, and I hope to see you all in the next video while we have more fun in Lilly's summer house. So see you then. Peace.